Welcome. The Department of Health and Human Services is pleased to present an overview of person-centered planning and practices for you and your family.
We hope this presentation will help empower you in creating, controlling, and participating in supports that will move you toward the life you wish to live.
To do this, we will take a look at how person-centered planning and practices can help put you in control of your life. These practices help you create supports and services that matter most to you, respect what you like and what makes you happy, and support your talents and help you decide what you want for your future. These practices empower and support you to make your own decisions and choices. These practices help you to say yes to what you want and no to what you don't want, and expect that your decisions will be honored and respected. Let's get started.
When the providers and staff who support you commit to person-centered practices, they begin to see you as who you truly are. A person of real value who has a lot to say and a lot to offer to others. This new perspective changes the way they think about you, and changes the way they look at your behavior and what you are telling people through your body language. It makes sure they ask you what you think and really listen to what you have to say. Person-centered practices help staff figure out and support your talents, gifts, and skills. And it helps them see you as a real person who is entitled to the same respect that everyone else enjoys. You may have heard of the Home and Community-Based Services Settings Rule. This rule was established by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, or CMS, to ensure that individuals receiving Medicaid-funded HCBS have access to community living and services in the most integrated settings. The Settings Rule outlines standards for person-centered planning and ensuring services support individuals with gaining independence, community integration, and exercising rights.
This rule protects your right to make choices and to control the decisions in their lives, a right most people take for granted. This would include choosing where to live and who you interact with and deciding what you do during the day. For people that live in a licensed home and not their own home or family home, you should decide when you eat and who you live with. You should also have the right to have visitors and able to lock your doors, like to your bedroom. In this type of home, you should also be protected from being evicted through a lease or other legally enforceable agreement. The rule also makes sure that you're exercising your rights like having privacy, being treated with dignity and respect, and being free from abuse and neglect. The rule requires a person-centered process for planning services and supports, which means that you direct the planning process. The plan must reflect your own preferences and goals that you have for yourself. The rule requires that you have opportunities to seek employment and work in competitive integrated settings, engage in community life, and can choose their services and supports and who provides them.
Person-centered practice is based on some key principles. They are: quality of life is defined by the individual who lives it. Support individuals with dignity and empower them. Nothing about me without me. Let's look at each of these in more detail.
You are an expert on you. Nobody knows better than you of what a quality life looks like. You have control of your life. Providers must have conversations and use tools with you to find out your needs and wants to have a quality life. They must talk to you and others who know you best to learn about what matters most to you. Your provider and your case manager or service coordinator will ask you lots of questions to make sure they understand what you want, and be sure to listen to your body language and your words. It is important that you are honest and open about what you want and what you feel will help you have the best life. If you don't use words to communicate, they sometimes may make educated guesses to understand what you were telling them with your body language and the other ways you communicate. In this case, they should also ask you and others in your life who know you best about how you want to live your life. And remember, as we go through life, we all change, and so your definition of a quality life will also change. So, it's important that you share any changes that you want and need in your life.
A person-centered approach involves supporting you with dignity and empowering you. When staff really listen to you, they are treating you with dignity and learning more about what you like and don't like. Based on this information, they can create opportunities to present new options for you to choose from, which supports your independence by giving control to you in all things possible. When you can make decisions and do things on your own, you decide when, how, and if you want to do something. Staff should support you in a way that promotes your independence. This includes staff giving you time to respond and to initiate things on your own. Staff should not jump in and take over. Staff supporting you need to understand that they are not fixing you because you are not broken. We all need support from others in our lives.
Nothing about me without me. This means you are the key voice in deciding all aspects of your service planning and delivery. When planning services for your individual service agreement, also called ISA, or for your care plan, you and perhaps your family should expect to be interviewed and have conversations to update your needs, wishes, and wants to develop your plan and come up with possible new goals for the year. You are the driver, as you are the one who decides how you want to participate in your ISA care plan meetings. Maybe you'd like to co-chair the meeting. You decide when and where the meeting will be held and who will be invited. Providers are required to ask you about your satisfaction with services. They will check in with you to see how things are going and if you want to change anything about your services. For the DD system, formal quarterly satisfaction surveys are completed with you. You want to be ready to respond to the assessments and speak up if you want to change something, so that providers can make those changes and respond to your requests. They may also do extra visits or calls when major events occur in your life. They will document any changes and update services and your ISA or care plan if needed.
To put the principles we just talked about into practice, you have a role, a responsibility, to share your wishes with your support team. This means you need to help others learn what is important to and important for you, which we will go over in a moment. You need to speak up and fully participate in meaningful talks with the people in your life that support you. In other words, your team. You need to share information about your skills, gifts, and talents, and what goals you want to achieve. And you must share your hopes and dreams for your life, and include your personal goals to help create the quality of life you have defined.
Learning what is important to you is a basic part of person-centered planning. It includes those things that help you to be satisfied, content, comforted, fulfilled, and happy. These things can be people, relationships, things to do, and places to go, daily practices and routines. It includes your reputation in life and things you control, things you have or want to have, and how and by whom supports are provided. Important, too, contains all the happiness factors, the things that bring you joy and comfort. You might say these are the things that make your heart sing. Can you think of a few things in your life that make your heart sing? Person-centered planning also takes into account what is important for you. These are the things that ensure your health and safety and support you to contribute and feel valued in your community. Some examples are things like medical treatment and things you need to keep you healthy and safe, like diabetes equipment, a walker, eating the right foods, or exercising. It could also mean emotional support and freedom from fear. Think of what you might include on a list of the things that are important for you. Now, let's look at another part of Important For in the next section. There are supports you may need to help you participate in and be a part of your community. This part of Important For includes the things that you may need to know and do to make sure you are seen by people in your community based on the value and impact you bring to your community. These supports should help you fully participate in your community. For example, you may need to learn a new skill or how to interact in the community that is socially acceptable. Some examples might include how you dress for certain activities in the community, how to take part in a conversation, knowing when to say please or thank you, knowing how to handle a disagreement calmly, understanding how your actions impact other people, or learning accepted ways to show affection. Can you think of skills or support you might need to participate more fully in your local community, which could include shopping at a store, going to church, or even at work?
Identifying your skills and gifts is very important when developing your person-centered individual service agreement or care plan because you can use these skills to help develop your goals. Meaning you can use your gifts to help you meet your hopes and dreams. What are your gifts and skills? What makes your heart sing? How does who you are impact other people or contribute to your fellow man? What are you really good at? What are your passions? What do your admirers say about you? These could be anything. A great smile, being a computer whiz, making people laugh, being a good ball player, a good listener, someone who notices everything, the ability to remember people's names, and so on. Take a moment and make a list of some of your gifts and talents. If you are having a hard time making this list, Then think about the last time someone paid you a compliment about one of your gifts. How did you feel? Acknowledged? Appreciated? Are you more likely to continue doing whatever was recognized?
Support for community connections is very person-centered when you are in control. That is, when you choose how you want those community connections to happen. Remember when we talked about what is important for you to become a valued and contributing member of your community? Think about a place you visit often in your local community, or think of a place you would like to go in the future. Now ask yourself each of these questions for that setting. What do you want to do there? What kind of help might you want or need to do it? Who could you see or meet there? Who will go with you? What would you like to do more independently while there? What kind of help might you need to do that? What role would you like staff to play? Do you need staff to only transport you? Introduce you to others. Stay in the background, but be there if you need them. When you answer these types of questions, you are controlling how you want to be supported to help you increase or maintain your life in the community.
Now, let's talk about your role for your individual service agreement or care plan. When it comes time to create or update your individual service agreement or care plan, the providers in your life should meet with you to talk about it. They need to have a conversation about what you want to achieve or get done in the next year. You will need to share any changes in your life and participate in any updates needed for any assessments.
The What's Working and Not Working tool can be a great way to identify problems or challenges in your individual service agreement or care plan. It simply asks you, your family, staff, and others what they think is working well in your life and should continue and remain the same. But it also asks you and these same people to list what they think is not working in your life and should be talked about and might need to change. As part of the pre-planning for your new individual service agreement or care plan, you might be asked these questions. You'll want to think about each one and share the answers with your support team. What do you want to learn? What are your hopes and dreams? What changes do you want to the place where you are living? What traditions or customs do you prefer? What are your community connections? Do you want to volunteer in your community? What about employment? Do you want a job in the community? If you already have a job, is there anything you want to change about it? How do you wish to be involved in the prep work for the individual service agreement or care plan meeting, and how do you want to be involved in the actual meeting itself?
And even more questions to make sure information is updated, current, and accurate. You may be asked if anything changed during this past year related to your employment. For instance, if you would now like a job if you don't have one, or if you are working, you might be asked if anything changed about your job. In relation to your health, you may be asked if you had any new health problems or conditions, or if nothing changed. You also may be asked about any changes to your communication style, for instance, if you had to get hearing aids or if you are now using an iPad to help you communicate. Any updates to your living situation will also be discussed, for instance, if you are happy where you are or if you would like to live somewhere else. Your service provider and service coordinator or case manager will ask you for updates about your services and supports, which could include if you want to make any changes. They will also make sure that your address, religion, or other demographics are the same. Lastly, they will make sure the person to contact in case of an emergency is up to date. And even more questions. These are the 7 questions asked by David Petoniak, a famous author and expert in the field of developmental disabilities. Your answers to these questions will help your support team know how to best support you when providing services. So think about how you might answer these questions. They may ask you, how can we help you to achieve a sense of health and well-being? How can we help you to expand and deepen your relationships? How can we help you have more fun in ordinary, everyday community places? How can we help you have more power? How can we help you to make a contribution to others? How can we help you learn valued skills? How can we help your supporters to get the support they need? Preparing for the meeting and knowing some of these answers is how you can help ensure your individual service agreement or care plan is truly based on what you want in your life and how you want your services to be provided.
Remember that you are a key voice in making sure your individual service agreement or care plan meeting is truly person-centered. So think about how you want the meeting to go. Your service coordinator or case manager should ask you these questions prior to the meeting to make sure it's your meeting and how you want it to be held. They should ask, where do you want the meeting to take place? Where will you sit? Where do you want others to sit? What makes you feel relaxed and comfortable? For instance, would you like music playing in the background, or maybe you want to have the meeting outdoors? If you are a person who doesn't like meetings, can you come and go as you wish? Who would you like to attend? Who will be in charge of the meeting? What do you want on the agenda? How would you like to share what you did in the past year? Now that you have shared what matters most to you and you have decided how you want your meeting to be held, the next step is for you to direct the development of goals for your individual service agreement or care plan to make sure that what you want to do and how you want to do it is included in your plan.
To make sure your plan is person-centered, the key part of your individual service agreement or care plan is creating your goals based on your strengths, which includes your skills and talents, your preferences, meaning the things you want to do or learn, and making sure you include specific instructions on how you want staff to support you with these. And lastly, your dreams and hopes. What is important to you? What matters most to you to have a quality life?
To build that quality of life that you want, there will be things you want to learn and do. These things become outcomes for your individual service agreement or care plan. You and your support team will look at each outcome you want and create goals that will help you achieve that outcome. Here are some examples of outcomes and possible goal ideas to support the outcome. Let's look at the first one. The outcome is prepare food independently. Maybe you have decided that a quality life for you includes doing your own cooking. Based on this outcome, you may want to figure out what aspect of preparing food independently do you want to do. For example, you may want to look at what kinds of foods would you like to cook? Or can you make a simple snack? Or make a sack lunch without help? How are you with using the oven, stove, or microwave? All these might be goals for you under the outcome of doing your own cooking or preparing food independently. For the outcome of communicating choices effectively, a goal could be to learn how to use a communication board or device, or learn to use a smartphone to help with translating from Spanish to English. If you had an outcome to become physically fit, possible goals could be to walk a mile on a track at least 3 times a week, or learn how to select healthy foods in a restaurant, or learn key features of a diabetic diet. The last outcome to learn to use a computer, your goals might be learning how to find information on the internet or watch movies. Whatever your outcomes and goals are, just remember they need to be what you want. Your team may help you come up with ideas, but ultimately it is your choice and decision.
So, what happens next now that your individual service agreement or care plan is being used and put into action? Well, your case manager or service coordinator is responsible for making sure that it is helping you meet your needs and goals and services are supporting you the way you wanted. Your case manager or service coordinator will assess your satisfaction with your plan. For individuals receiving developmental disability services, this will occur quarterly with your service coordinator, who will complete the amendment and quarterly satisfaction survey. Either your case manager or service coordinator will ask you about what's new with your health and safety, or if there is anything new about your community activities or preferences. And since you are in control of your plan, they will ask if there is anything you like to change. They will check to see if your needs and goals are being addressed and give you an opportunity for you to advocate for what you want.
Remember that person-centered planning and practices can help put you in control of your life, but it won't work unless you communicate to us in your own way. You will want to share with others how you think services and supports are going. Share with others any new things you like or don't like. Also, you want to share any new wishes, needs, or goals. If you're not happy with something, tell someone. Share with others how you think you're doing on your goals, or if you want to change anything about your goals. And be sure to share any barriers that are getting in the way of what you want. To sum it all up, remember you have the key voice in person-centered service planning.
Your role is to help create the supports and services that matter most to you, are based on what you want and like, support your gifts, and enable you to go after your hopes and dreams. Your role in this process will help encourage you and support you to make your own decisions and choices. It will also help you say yes to what you want and no to what you don't want, and your decisions will be honored and respected.
John O'Brien, a famous expert in person-centered services, reminds us, if you can't say no, yes doesn't mean very much. Here are some resources that might be helpful in learning more about person-centered practices and planning.
Thank you for participating in this training. We hope you learned something new during this course and have a good understanding of person-centered practices and planning. Now, we will move on to the next training topic covering self-advocacy and informed choice. To access the next training topic, while in the training course in Moodle, use the navigation column on the left to select the section titled Self-Advocacy and Informed Choice. Thank you and have a great day.